We're here. Listen, there are some weeks, y'all. Can we just be honest? There
Please.
are some weeks when we come in from our other parts of our lives and we come in on skates that are smoking. Okay. You may see us pull together. See, there you go. There you go. Tonight, this happens to be one of those nights, but
One
that's
of
all
those
right.
things.
Because we are here. Hello, everybody.
Hey, hey.
Welcome to the Doing the Doctorate podcast special summer session.
Summer
Hey,
session.
what season is this? Is this
5. This is season 5.
This is season 5.
Season 5.
Y'all been rolling with us for 5 seasons. Thank y'all so much. Season 5. Whoop, 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 whoop. And we are here. I am Dr. Kesslin. I am the host of this podcast.
Yes.
The goal is to provide information and inspiration to those who are going in, through, and getting out of their doc programs. I love coaching doctoral students.
Yes.
Love it. But the podcast is just one of our ways to reach out. And you all know by now, after 5 seasons, that I don't do this alone. I'm so thankful to have with me the incomparable, the absolutely amazing early childhood educator, entrepreneur extraordinary in the areas of STEM, because all things are STEM. The mompreneur, she is absolutely amazing, and we call her Dr. O.
Hey,
Hey.
Listen, coming in here literally on skates.
It's all right. You're here.
But I made it.
You're
And
here.
So, yeah,
Literally
I made it.
with 1 minute to spare. You're here. Well, kind of, sort of. 1 minute to spare. More or less.
Jumped on, and then the countdown was on, and I'm like, okay, no makeup, no lipstick. We just outside today.
Natural glory. Glory.
There it is.
Yeah. It's all good. Listen, if the truth be told, I hopped in probably 5 minutes before you did.
Wow.
So, but we're here.
We made it.
Listen, it is graduation season, and I am so super excited. I have been to quite a few graduations in these last few weeks, and they have truly inspired me.
Nice.
They've truly inspired me. So I'm just grateful. Let me tell you a little bit about what we're doing tonight. Many people consider pursuing a doctorate as a next career step. But for some, it's a divine assignment. And so tonight, we're going to talk about a divine calling and or career climb, discernment before the doctorate. If you followed us last week and the week before when Dr. O, we had to pull her from the dance floor to come on with us, you know that we are in a season of preparing people for doctoral work. We're in a season of preparing people. And so as a part of the preparation process, we really want you to think about whether this doctoral process is a divine calling and a career climb. Let's start with our thought for the day, doing the doctoral quote. And here it is. Doc, I look forward to hearing what your thoughts are about.
I'm hearing it for the first time, y'all, because I'm late.
Here we go. It's all right. Listen, you are going to so flow with tonight. You're going to flow.
Listen. Okay.
You're going to flow, right? Here's the thought. While the PhD may garner power and position, remember that it is your passport to greater divine purpose. While the PhD may garner power and position, remember that it is your passport to greater divine purpose. Talk to me, Doc. It is your passport to greater divine purpose. You think? You agree? You think? Yeah.
I agree. There's a scripture that says, until the whole earth is full of his glory.
Mm.
And as you know, believers, many of us are believers, but we believe that we are called to represent Christ on earth, and Christ is simply love. Like that, it's not that deep. It's love.
Love.
So we are supposed to be love on the earth, right?
Yeah.
So our calling is to be of influence and to be influential in the world and to spread that light of and that love, right?
Mm.
When you're
Mhm.
looking
Mhm.
at the doctorate and that pursuit, the doctorate opens up spaces of influence, puts you in the room, enables you to not just put you in the room to influence with your words, but actually to influence systems, right? So I know we're not supposed to be preachy, but there's another.
Well, no, tonight we're gonna be a little preachy.
Okay,
Okay.
okay,
Tonight, that's why I said you're gonna be able to
okay,
flow tonight.
okay.
'Cause
So
tonight we are talking about divine
divine,
God stuff,
yeah. So
divine calling and career climbing.
career,
So yeah,
so it's
be
different.
all your Christian self tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
So the earth is the Lord's, but the world is a system. And there's systems in the world that we're called into. And we have to know what systems what worlds we're called into. We are called into the world of education. You are called into the world of social work. We are called into the world of higher education. This
Yep.
is a world in which we are called to influence. So
Yep.
here's the problem. If you're called into the world of education, but you want to pursue a career in medicine because you make more money, now you're out of alignment and you're out of assignment, and someone who needs your light over here in this
Uh-oh.
lane is not going to get it because
Uh-oh.
you're out of alignment.
Uh-oh.
And when you pursue your calling, provision follows. I'm not saying pursuing your calling, you're going to be a millionaire, billionaire, all those things,
But you may.
but you will be provided what you need,
Yeah.
not just physical, but what about, let's talk spiritual, peace. Because a lot of people are pursuing a career that society says is prestigious, is going to make you a lot of money, and they make that money, but they have no peace.
Mm.
So when you're looking at a divine calling, you have to look at what world am I called to put my influence in?
Mm.
And
Mm.
really a lot
And to show love,
to
right?
show love.
And to show love.
And your
Yeah.
influence should be love.
Yes.
You should
Yeah.
be influencing the world by the love that you bring to those spaces. And
Yeah.
that's what the calling is all about. It's not about material things. It's about that being that light and that influence in the space that you're called to.
Yeah.
And your career can become your calling as long as you're tapped into the one who's called you.
That's wait, Oism, y'all write that down. Your career can become your calling as long as you're tapped into the one who called. Is that what you said?
That's what I said. I think that's what I said.
That's good.
So that's kind of my thought. I feel like,
Yeah.
you know, it is a calling because we're called into certain worlds and we're called to be influenced, and that influence is simply love. And love cannot be spread if you are not in a space of peace, if you are not in that space, because now you're kind of like, does that make sense what I'm saying?
Absolutely. You know, I think, and that's what we're talking about tonight. I mean, we are, you know, sometimes we really separate our spiritual, for us Christian selves, from this thing that we call doing the doctorate, right? But in reality, for me, they are one and the same, right? I'm so thankful that my calling is to help people get their doctorate so they can be lights and information sharers and inspiration givers in the areas in which they are called to be, right? They can show love through advocacy. They can show love through sharing information. They can save lives by doing the research that is life-giving and life-fulfilling. And that is my call.
That's good.
And my career. I'm thankful. I'm thankful. So y'all, tonight we are just talking about calling and career. And when we're talking about calling, for me and for Dr. O, I'm pretty certain I can speak for you, Dr. O. We're talking about a call from a divine being. For us, it's God, right? God is calling and leading us into this space and this place, getting the doctorate. And yes, it will provide us opportunities in our career, but the ultimate purpose is to walk in our divine call. So that's what we're talking about tonight.
That's good.
That's
That's
what we're
good.
talking about tonight.
That's
And
good.
so we're just, in this summer series, we are helping people prepare
Mhm.
for the doctorate. That's
Yeah.
that's what this summer series is about. And so, Doc, when I think about the the call, I think pursuing your doctorate, we've said this before, it has to be more than you want people to call you doctor,
Yes.
because it's hard, y'all. It is not
Mm-hmm.
for the faint of heart. It has to be connected to something bigger,
Yeah.
something more influential. It
Mm.
has to. And for us, we believe that there's a spiritual dimension to pursuing this doctorate. And so
Absolutely.
somebody would say, what are the signs? How do you know that you're called to do this doctorate? And we're gonna hear your story in a minute, in a minute, Dr. O. But here are some signs for you to think about when you're thinking, well, if it's something bigger than me, like how do I know? How do I know? Here are some signs for you to think about. One, you may feel a persistent nudging
Mm.
for more knowledge, for a bigger contribution to your field, for a bigger contribution to your career. You may feel a call, a nudge to challenge systems. Oftentimes, when I have like initial conversations with people and they talk about not knowing, I'm like, well, how did you get to this place? Tell me about where you are right now in your process. And they're like, I just, I, I feel this desire to learn more in this subject area. And I'm like,
Mm.
for some people, I say, they say, I feel a nudge to do more, but I really don't know what I want to research. And I always say, tell me something that you're really passionate about, or tell me something, a subject matter that really ticks you off, that you want to change and you can't shake that thing. To me, those are all that persistent, consistent nudges that make you say, there's more that I want to be and do to help people. So that's sign number one. Sign number two, for those of us who practice some spiritual practices or some religious practices, I'm sorry, there is a confirmation through prayer or through scripture, or maybe a prophetic word, or a spiritual mentor said something to you that resonated with you, right? So there's a confirmation through prayer, scripture, prophetic word, or spiritual mentors.
You going real fast.
I'm sorry, let me slow down, slow down, slow it down, slow it down. We're talking about how you know that the doctorate is like you're it's your part of your calling. So there's the persistent nudging. Oh, said I'm going fast. There's the nudge that you can't explain.
Mm.
There's the confirmation through your spiritual practices, right? Number three, you have repeated opportunities that point toward an area, repeated opportunities to teach, to write, to do research. People are always asking you to speak on a certain subject, right? So, those repeated opportunities don't come to you if you're not gifted in those areas. People see something in you and
Yes.
they're requesting it from you, right? That means you're gifted in that area. And you may want to sharpen that tool through doctoral education. So, persistent nudging, that spiritual tug,
Yeah.
confirmation through prayer or through your scriptures or prophetic someone speaking into your life, like your spiritual practices. There's the repeated opportunities that come, and I said this and number one, but there's a burden to address societal gaps.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom.
There's like nobody is talking about this. And they need to. And I don't understand why. Why is this the way that it is? And it just gets under your skin.
Mm-hmm.
That may be the burden or the weight of responsibility that has come to you to address.
That part.
Right? And getting the doctorate equips and prepares you to address it. So those may be God nudges for you. And they are different from this person got it and so I want to get it.
Right. Right.
It's different from I just want to be doctor. I want the title. I want to be Nope. Nope. The God nudges are different than the self nudges.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody just mentioned that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could put that comment back up, Dr. Jones. Dr. Davis said, unfortunately, not many are not willing to accept and receive a calling of fulfillment over wealth, title, and position.
It's true.
But they will learn that fulfillment is worth much more than wealth, title, and position. And that speaks to what you were just talking about. And you said nudge, you said burden. I call it like a crisis. Without that internal crisis, you'll never really know what you're called to do. And so whatever you're dealing with, that current crisis is the catalyst that's going to propel you into your calling, right? So humanity had a crisis, God sent Jesus. Your neighbor has a crisis, God sends you. The calling on you is not for you. The calling on you is for others. So you can't look at what's going to make me comfortable, what's going to make me money, what's going to make me, because as lights, we as Christ followers, we have made a commitment. We sing it all the time. My life is not my own. Like we sing it all the time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we're saying we give ourselves away. And what that song simply means is we're here to do what we're called to do. And often that calling comes on the hinge of a crisis. So for everybody out here that's tripping about everything that's going on and you can't sleep at night and the political this and the education this and whatever it is, it could be homelessness or differently abled children or whatever it is. And you're like, blah. That nudge, that burden, that crisis is
a call.
A call because you are designed to help others. And the doctorate is just going to give you, like you said, the tools, the resources, the strategy,
the opportunities
so that you can go into all the world, right? And we're not talking about geographic location specifically in that scripture. We're talking about the world of sports, the world of education, the world of science, the world of technology, and go into all the world and be loved and be influenced and be that light. But a lot of times we are focused on what the person that's watching us, last name Davis, said. We're focused on the wealth, the position, the title. And that's not what this is about. That's not what life is about.
Because you'll never be fulfilled with
you know how many people have taken their lives. I just saw a reel. Somebody sent it to me. And it's a real crisis, like mental health. Some of y'all are called to go into the world of mental health, and you're going to need this degree so that you can be equipped to go in. But I just saw this reel of these really famous people.
Yeah,
and it was you saw that? It was so powerful. You're talking wealth, fame, all the things that society and culture says we need to strive for. But no, we're not. We are striving to do what we are called to do. And that often comes on the heels of discomfort because what's happening in the world is making you uncomfortable. And that nudge and that burden, lean into that. Don't try to circumvent that to pursue wealth. Lean into that.
Here's the other thing. You just talked about mental health, right? The stats of people who struggle Mm-mm. The stats of doctoral students and
Yes.
candidates who struggle with mental health issues is staggering. You
Mm,
don't want to step onto this field
no.
if God has not placed you and called you to this, because it is not easy. You will question many, many, many
Yes.
days. Did I make
Yes.
the right decision? Am I doing this because I was called to it? You you will question.
Yeah.
You will question your sanity. You will you may lose a lot along the journey. You want to make sure that you are called to it. And those are some steps to help you know that something bigger than you
Yeah.
and Dr. K and Dr. O are calling you to this.
Yes.
Listen, you must know. Doc, how did you discern, if I may ask, how did you discern
Yeah.
that God was leading you in this direction? I don't know
So
if I've ever asked you
I
that.
don't think you have, and
I
it's
don't think
funny
I have.
you say that. Sometimes the calling of God comes when you're comfortable in your career, and
Ouch.
because I always wanted to get a doctorate because I wanted the letters, doctor, doctor, doctor. So I went through undergrad, grad school, and immediately I'm going to get my doctorate because that's
Mm.
because I want the letters and I'm making lots of money. I said it in the show previous. I didn't get into any school. And I graduated with my master's with a 4.0, and I didn't get into any doctoral program when I
I
initially.
don't know that I knew
Yeah,
that.
I didn't get
Oh,
into any because I was trying to go.
wow.
I was trying to go.
Go
And the Lord
fast.
said, "No, no, you need to go teach." So I'm like, okay, I'll go teach. So I'm teaching and I'm teaching and I'm good. Now I'm good because I have my master's, I have my admin cert, and really that's all you need to be successful as an educator in the
Wow.
public system because I had everything I needed to all the way be up to a principal if I wanted to. So I
Wow.
wasn't thinking about nobody's PhD doctoral program because I figured it wasn't for me because I didn't
And you'd
get
already
in.
been told no.
I was told no by 5 schools. So it
Wow.
wasn't like I was told no by one.
Wow.
And I graduated with a 4.0 in my master's. So I was like, well, maybe I'm not smart enough. Maybe it's not for me. I was comfortable in my teaching career and I was good to go. And then here comes this opportunity. And they came and they spoke at a staff meeting. And I was like checked out. And I heard so clearly the Holy Spirit say,
Mm.
apply, apply,
The
apply,
nudge. The nudge.
apply, apply.
Mm.
And I was like, nah, that ain't for me. I'm not doing it. So
Mm.
then I did what most of us do when we're comfortable in our career and we don't want to go for our calling. We go get confirmation for what we want. So we go to the people that are going to tell us, no, you don't need that. You don't need that. You're done. It's not going to make any difference in your salary. Why would you do that?
Wow.
You're done with school. And so I was listening to those voices and I was like, we're good. Apply, apply. And then for not for whatever reason, but the Holy Spirit will get your attention. He placed me in a location in 3 different programs where I was surrounded by teachers that were just not doing right by the kids. And that
Mm.
thing vexed my
Mm.
spirit to the point where I still have journals. And I would just be like, how are these teachers able to talk to the kids this way? How are these teachers that we need to do something about these teachers? Teachers need
Mm.
to da 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 da. We
Mm.
need more training. This is not developmentally appropriate. I'm on my soapbox in my journal. And the Lord was like, I said apply.
Mm.
And I was like, whoa. So I was like, all right, well, here
So
we
you had
go.
2 out of the 4. Now we're checking 2 out of the 4. Yep.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and apply. And I'll be honest with you, I did not get the, oh my God, that's amazing. OJ, get that doctorate. That's so cool, right? That you get when you go to undergrad. And everybody tells high school seniors, oh my gosh, you got in school. That's so great. Oh my goodness,
Mm.
even masters. But when you're comfortable in your career and you decide to go back to school for a degree, you might not get the send off. You might get the, why are you doing that? Do you not,
Yep.
this was the other one. Do you know how much money that is? That's because
Yep.
I didn't take your course, but you're looking at money, you're looking at time. It's not going to do anything. And you know how many people would have, I make, and this was one of my favorites. I have people who have PhDs at my school and I only have a master's and I make way more than them.
Mm.
And I remember taking that back to the Lord. And the Lord was like, did I say apply so you can make more money?
Mm.
There's a crisis in the world of education, and teachers are not being treated with respect, but not trained either.
Wow.
And I need you to go and do something about it. So apply. And don't worry about what anyone else is saying, because I did not get the celebratory, let's go get this doctorate. I got the, why, what are you doing?
Mm.
So that's really why I did it,
Wow.
because I had no intention. I mean, after being
It
denied,
was a call.
yeah, it was a call. Because
Yeah.
after being denied by 5 different universities, it's just not for me.
Yeah.
And I was okay with that.
Wow.
But the Lord said, apply.
So God had to shift your focus so that
Yes.
you could be intentional about your purpose. God had to shift that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was teaching with my master's degree at the college level, and I loved it. I never wanted to be a teacher, unlike you. I never, all caps with the AH at the end, never wanted to be an educator. And but when I got into it, I absolutely loved it. I was like, this is cool. And my mentor called me in her office one day, chairperson, and she said, Miss Braid, so what do you think? Do you like it? This was like at the end of year 2 or 3. I said, actually, I do. And she said, I'm glad. You're a great teacher, great reviews. Do you want to continue teaching? I said, I think I do. She said, well, if you want to go back, if you want to continue teaching and you want to teach beyond this space, then you're going to have to go back to school. And I said, I don't love teaching that much. I go back to school. The thought never entered my mind, but she planted a seed.
Yes.
Oh, that thing would not go away.
I love
It
it.
would not go away. And at the same time, I was involved in a project that addressed issues of domestic violence. And I share this often in the month of October, which is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. There were 2 sisters in my faith community who were killed in one domestic violence situation. Yeah, it was tragic. And that thing would not let me rest. I am almost crying now thinking about it. It just unsettled my spirit. And so that is what gave me, in my faith community, in my church, that is what gave me the content to write about. I knew that I wanted to address this issue. There were too many people in churches that were suffering emotionally, physically, spiritually, in relation to violence and abuse. And I felt called to do something about it, but I needed to learn.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I applied to school. I applied to several schools, got accepted, had scholarships to go. But the school that I chose, that I really felt led to, answered all the missing pieces that I needed.
Nice.
The faculty member was an expert in domestic violence.
Wow.
The school, it was Howard. Howard had a divinity school. So I could like merge all of my worlds And God just opened that door in a way that I could not misunderstand. My prayer is always, Lord, open
Mhm.
the doors that should be opened and close the doors that should be closed. And God, make it so clear that I cannot understand. Because Lord, I mess stuff up. So make it so clear that I cannot misunderstand. And God did that for me,
Yeah,
for me.
that's
And so, that was my story of how I got the doctorate. That was my story of how God opened the doors for me.
love it.
And then I started coaching, and it was something that I'm passionate about. It was something that people say I do well. I think I do
You
it well.
do and do.
And it uses all of my skill sets. I could not have mapped this path in this way. I know it was God. So when I talk about God kind of guiding and leading us and seeking God's face to get here, because you don't want to do this if you're not clear that
Yeah,
this is where God has you. It's too hard. I mean,
it's
it's hard. I mean,
real
people
talk.
do it, but
Real
it's
talk.
it's it's hard. It's
Yeah.
hard. You have to feel a passion for it, and you have to feel like it's purposeful, and they have to align at some point, because you're going to get tired, y'all.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to
Yeah.
want to listen, there were so many days I wanted to throw my computer out of
Girl.
the window. Okay?
Girl.
Out
Girl.
of the window. So how do you know? How do you discern the difference between
I think her internet just went out. But I was gonna say something.
am
Oh wait.
oh, here I am. I don't know what happened.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you kind of broke up just a wee bit.
Oh,
But go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
You're good.
So yeah, how do we discern the difference between ambition and purpose and calling and passion? Any thoughts about that? I have some thoughts, but
Before you,
how do you get to the
before
place
you
where you
go
know?
there, before you go there, and I'm gonna let you give your thoughts on that
Sure, sure,
first.
sure.
I just want to say that we don't want to rob God of the impact that He wants to make in the community that we're called to. So
Ooh.
when you don't follow the nudge and you decide to follow comfort and what comfort and the culture over the calling, then you rob God of the impact that He wants to make in the community that He's calling you to.
Oh,
So just think about that too when you're wrestling, because many of us that are called, we are called from places where we're like, I don't want to do that.
mm, okay.
I don't want to go back to school. I don't want to study. I don't want to. But when you don't pursue the doctorate, if He's calling you to it, then you are literally robbing God of the impact that He wants to make in the community that you are called to.
Yeah, you were saying robbing God. At the end, you said, and robbing the community. And that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Not only are you robbing God, but you're robbing people from the vaccine that they need to live, right? Your, I say it all the time, your research matters. And there's something to be said when people connect with me and they say, hey, somebody just said it last week. Hey, I read your dissertation. I learned about the START model. I read your article on this. I read your book on that. It's like, wow, God,
Mm.
you are impacting people. Thank you for using me.
Yeah. That's a blessing.
You have When you get your doctorate, there's something, the information that you have, the research that you do helps people at a level that you may never
Right.
understand or know. But your research, it truly matters. It truly matters. Just last week, on my drive home, from UDC, I was talking to a young lady who, man, has done, she's a social worker. She's done amazing work in the schools. And she was telling me about her work and her presentations and I said, you need to get your doctorate.
Yeah.
Like the work that you're doing for your students, people need to learn about it. You need to write about it. You need to be the expert officially, like really, like people need to see you as the expert
Yes.
in this area because you can touch so many more people when you get it. So, yeah. Sorry, I don't even know why I
Yeah,
jumped
it's
in
all
on that, but it just
it's on point. It's on point. Look
yeah.
at the time, but we got to talk about ambition.
Okay, yes, ambition.
I know because
Ambition.
Dr. Jones is in the back. Like it's 35, ladies, but we got to talk about ambition. I can't remember what question you asked me, but I just want to say this. The voice of ambition will always fabricate an assignment. So
Ooh.
you cannot always go
Mm,
off of ambition.
mm.
So there's that.
Ambition is not, in my opinion, ambition is self-focused.
Yep.
It's not others focused.
Nope.
Ambition is all about putting yourself in a space of where you want to be. Um, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be in a space where you can, my opinion, where you can serve and help others to the fullest.
Yep.
But that's not self-serving.
Nope.
It's other serving. So, to me, God leads us to serve others in as big and bold a way as possible. And the doctorate helps you to get there.
Yes.
So, balancing ambition, whether it's ambition or God's desire or your desire, you need to talk to God about that.
Yep.
Ask God the questions like, what is the purpose? What is my purpose? Why am I here? What is the desire behind this desire, right?
Yep.
Is it for people to give me glory or is it to really be in a space to do your will? What's the purpose? How would this degree bring you honor and you glory and help me to serve others? These are the questions you need to ask God. Like, really, am I ready emotionally, spiritually, logistically for this commitment? And what doors will you open, God, for me to walk into?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not about you. Really, it's about a bigger purpose, a
Yeah.
bigger passion. It's about God. So
That's good.
that's my thought. My thought.
That's a mic drop.
Yeah. So listen, we can go on because this is.
We could, and
I
thank you
told
for.
you. I told you would be able to flow
Let
with
me just
tonight.
say, thank
Yes.
you for. I think I know it's a God thing that I didn't see the notes
Mm,
because oftentimes those of us who are in the community of faith are often told we have to separate our what we believe from what we do because all the reasons. And I've really been wrestling with that lately, and I think if I had seen these notes
mm.
ahead of time, I would have been trying to be more calculated about what it is that I was going to say. So I just feel appreciative for the space to flow in all of who I am,
Exactly.
and all of who we are, so we don't have to put things in buckets and in waffles. So
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
and I like the comment here. I
I
want
like
to
it
speak
too.
to that. He said
Yeah.
ambition and calling are not mutually exclusive. It's okay to have both. However, when ambition is in greater proportion, you need to be reflective and careful. And I completely agree.
Yeah.
Completely agree. Because when the ambition is in greater proportion to what I'm called to do, it's not sustainable. Because when you get to those spaces, especially in a doctoral program, it's not ambition is not going to sustain you because we can just put ambition on the shelf and go to the Bahamas with the rest of our friends and not miss out on the trip because we got to write. Sorry, I had a flashback.
Just breathe. Just breathe. Just breathe. It's okay.
But the calling will keep you focused on the community that you are supposed to bring light and love to, because now it's not about me.
There you go.
And while I would love to be
That's
in the
it.
Bahamas with y'all, I have
Mm.
an
Even
assignment.
now. Even now.
Even right now, I have an assignment to do because there is a lost and dying world out there, and I'm called to be light and love. And who knows, my very presence in a presentation where I say nothing about God. Like, I can't, Dr. Kesslin, I can't tell you the number of times that I've done presentations that people have come up to me afterwards and asked me for prayer. And I'm like, okay,
Wow.
did I say anything about God?
Wow.
Like,
No, the light.
I know I didn't say anything about God. I know I didn't say anything about prayer, Jesus. Like, I'm talking about developmentally appropriate practices in the preschool classroom.
It's the light.
It is. And the light needs to go, which means you need to go.
Yeah.
So don't rob God of the
Yeah.
influence that he's trying to make in those communities because you're comfortable, because he may call you to this right in the middle of your career.
That's good. Absolutely. All right, Doc, let's wrap up. What's coming up for you? What's coming up for you? What's on the schedule? I don't even know. I didn't even look at my schedule.
Let me see. Okay, so I have the National Elementary School Principals Association or conference that I'm speaking at in July in Seattle. I'm very excited about that. I got accepted to speak at the Division of Exceptional Children Conference in Oregon. So there's that. And I'm working on being invited to an educational summit of Black educators in Martha's Vineyard. Working on it. Working on it.
If you need me to carry your book, sit at your table.
Listen, I want to be in the room where it happens.
Ambition. That's ambition. Okay.
So God, if you're calling me, I'm willing to go. So that's what I'm working on. But right now, like for this week, it's really about finishing the school year strong with my kids and getting them set up for the summer, because that end of the year, this is the last week of school.
Right, isn't it? You're like barely coming over the, just like you help me to get over this hump. Yeah. Yep. Thankfully, my kids ended school. They just had a week off to do nothing, and I loved it, actually. Man, so I'm working behind the scenes. I'm not out in front. I actually am preparing a presentation, not even a presentation. I am preparing for our doctoral prep session. So many people have asked me about it in the last 2 weeks. I'm like, okay, that's God calling me to do it, I guess. So I am preparing for our next session of the doctoral prep program. And that is going to be to help people really with the nuts and bolts of getting into choosing, knowing what to know, where to go, and how to begin to win, how to get the money, how to choose your school, how to get your research. So I'm getting that ready. Over the summer, I'm determined to do my honest part in helping UDC build its MSW program. Yay. And I'm helping NACSW. We have our 75th annual conference in Norfolk, Virginia in November. So I'm working behind the scenes. I'm not your convention tour season is like now. Mine starts in the fall. So so doing those things, but I'm super excited. Oh, I appreciate you. I love you. You are my sister. I thank you. Thank you. Let's give just a reminder about the doctoral, doing the doctorate quote. While the PhD may garner power and position, remember that it is your passport to greater divine purpose. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you, my friend Primitivo Davis. Thank you for joining us. I think we had a few people join us tonight live. We will see you again next Sunday, 8:00 Eastern time. Remember, the doctoral degree, it is not merely a degree of intelligence. It is a degree of persistence. And we at the PhD Consultants are here to help you persist. Why? Because your research matters. We'll see you next Sunday. Love you, Mom and Dad. Talk to you later. Bye.